There we go. Well, so we got that out of the way. Anyway, the welcome into a very special Thursday show of Fat Beans Roasting Laboratory. We are continuing our adventure into trying to crack this egg, or as it's called, the bullet. To answer your question, A-Web, we've been referring to this beautiful roaster as Judy 2 until further notice or further named. You haven't been in the chat much in our early days, so if you do have something, a name that you think would just fit this galvanized beauty, you go ahead and let us know. But right now, we've just been referring it to the Judy 2 and both roasters at the Judy. So it's easier to kind of make comparisons by going from Judy 1 to Judy 2, or just saying 1 or 2, or as I'm calling all the roasters, the Judys. So, again, welcome in on Thursday night roast show. We are going to be doing 2 roasts, and as I mentioned in the chat when we got started, we will be doing specifically a roast for baby beans to start. So he's been asking me to try some beans. He's got his new roaster up and running, and he's ready to try some of the fat beans. So we're going to roast him up some beans, and that way he can test them out, tell us what he thinks. Is the roaster a girl? Doesn't have to be. I mean, it's like Potato Head. It's gender neutral until I can make money off of it being one sex or the other. And as soon as I can monetize it, we'll pull that one. Joey. Dripping. Yep. So, we're going to do baby beans, a full pound. I know that's got him excited. He asked for a half. Gonna get a full. Because that's what I'm roasting at. And I've told myself for the first... couple of roasts, I was going to stick with one consistent size, and that size happens to be a full pound green, or 454 grams is what we're going at. Get some ketchup. Alright, get me some ketchup. Put a little ketchup in your coffee, maybe a little arsenic. Anywho, good to see you all here with us on a Thursday night. The other reason for the Thursday night show as opposed to the Friday is Julie and I will be taking our first vacation since we had the boys. So we're excited that we'll be heading out of town starting Saturday. I know, COVID and all that stuff, but we're vaccinated. We're taking all the proper precautions. So we got to get out of town. A year locked in with 2 boys under the age of 3 has been too much. Time to go. So we will be out of town for this. Why can't it be 455 grams? I don't know, just to be difficult. You put arsenic in there, it could end up on Forensic File episode. I mean, you could, but at least I'd be really famous then, right? Be really hitting all the marks as far as a roaster goes. That is an easy way to fame. So we'll get to 50 followers if I start dumping arsenic in coffee. That might be the $1 million idea there, B Misfit. Butter coffee with your coffee. So butter coffee or coffee butter with your coffee. I need a nice even number. Well, you can have any number that you want, A-Web. I mean, I'm just invading your space for your choice. Now, if you want to mute me every time I say 454 and just go 400, I start going 450 and you mute me and you say 5. By all means. Now, we're using grams and Celsius because it is it's just how to talk to the world. In the world of roasting, maybe this comes as no surprise to you. Maybe this comes as a major surprise to you. But there's not a lot of home roasters in the United States compared to the rest of the world. So when you're trying to engage with a larger community, you tend to be engaging with a lot more Europeans and people from Southeast and Central Asia. So because of that, we are going to roast in Celsius. We're also going to measure in grams. Just to make sure when I'm getting any ideas or any inspirations, or if I'm passing my recipes on to other roasters, it's in a language that they can speak. Not that I'm going to try to discount the imperial language that we speak. I'm very proud of it. But as far as roasting goes, we are going to stick with that. Also, still 46 followers. So, as always, if you know somebody wants to get in on the Beanhead experience, you go ahead and let them know. But all that aside, won't be here on the roast show. Now that does mean that we won't have a Saturday for the first time since the beginning of the year. There'll be no Saturday show, but we are going to do a special Sunday show because AWeb brought it up several months ago about Pi Day. Pi Day happens to be on a Sunday this year, so be looking for the Florida Keys Pi edition of the Pi Fat Beans Coffee Show. You should put a conversion chart on your wall for some people. Why don't you know American measurement? Who don't know American measurement? Yeah, I could probably do that, or the internet. I guess we already know you have a computer because... And I'll try to convert it as quickly as I possibly can. So there are some easy tricks to get close, but I do apologize for all of you that are damning the American education system, to which I am culpable to. So I apologize to all of you. So what are we doing right now? Well, we are... This Judy 2 here is a drum roaster. It has an electric heating element under here. And the beans are going to be passed over this, and it's going to heat the drum. Unlike Judy 1, where there wasn't a lot of preheating, in fact, it was not it wasn't like advised to do preheating. This allows for ambient temperature, so it heats up to the desired, and then it tries to balance out as much as possible. Once the roaster has balanced out with the ambient temperature, the air coming in and the air inside the drum, it's going to blink and say charge. We'll dump the beans in there. This is going to create a much more consistent roast. It's also a roast that we'll be able to track. To give you guys some more looks about what you'll see while I'm roasting. That would be nothing. See, the Fat Beans show doesn't like Thursday shows. It's off its game. Are you dragging all this equipment on your trip? No, we're just going to do it with the cell phone. Just do a good old-fashioned cell phone stream, the same way I got started. No equipment, no fuss, just Julie, the cell phone, and the beach. There we go. So, give you a rundown of what we'll be looking at now. By the time we do our next roast show, when I get back from vacation, I will have all of this fixed and figured out. I'm getting a new bean cam, which should alleviate some of this mirroring and all this other nonsense that the old bean cam providing. But we have a bunch of numbers I'll go through while we roast. You'll also see this frame. That is the computer log that we'll be taking. This is how I'm going to be able to read the roast, both from the machine, from all of the different smells and sounds, but now I'm going to add an advanced cognitive view where I can actually track the numbers in real time to see how the roast is progressing. Another thing that I'll be working on is getting the sound kind of better engineered now that I'm going to be roasting primarily over here rather than when I used to roast over here. So still a lot of tweaks that we need to make. And this show, being that this is the fourth roast on Judy 2, feel free to kind of throw in any sort of advice about the technical things. So while I'm sitting here trying to get this new roaster, trying to log as much information in my brain as I can, you guys go ahead and, if you don't mind, throw me any sort of feedback that you have about what you're seeing, what you're hearing, what's irritating to you. Yes, I know the mirroring is going to be a little bit irritating, but just go ahead and throw me any sort of feedback so I can make any sort of adjustments, or at least make a plan for the adjustments that I'm going to make here soon. So the ambient temperature, the warm-up, that is one thing I got to get used to. I got to get down here a little bit earlier to start warming up the machine. It is at the temperature I want, and just as I said that, it says charging. So what charge means is that it wants to take the beans and just get them up to heat. So for the first minute and a half, the beans are going to come in at about 65 degrees Fahrenheit, or room temperature. And it's going to slowly try to bring them up to about the heat that the drum is. All the while, for the next 8 minutes, the drum and the beans are going to be marching towards about 400 degrees, 420 degrees, 200 degrees Celsius. Once it reaches that 200 degrees Celsius, that's when first crack is going to happen. And then I'll explain what we're doing from there. Pinch and spread, the chart is cool. Yeah, the chart is pretty cool if you just pinch with your fingers if you're on a phone, or just kind of do whatever you want. I can't pick every computer. Web, if you're on your TV, I don't know what you're supposed to do. But you can pinch and actually see the graph, and that is going to give you a pretty cool visual as we go. And I'll kind of try to walk you through what I'm seeing while we go. So, without any more dancing around the subject, let's get into the roast. And you notice real time, it has jumped right in. I want to set my temperature a little bit higher. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the two purple lines to meet. The light purple line is going down. The dark purple line is going up. I want those to eventually meet. And then the predictor is going to kind of give me an idea of where the beans are heading. I want a nice, steady upward climb all the way up for that 8 minutes. So right now, we are just putting as much heat as we can in an effort to get this balanced out. Then we'll walk the heat down a little bit, and I'll go through some more stuff in there. So I'm just reading some of my tips here. Is the roaster loud? What does it sound like for you? A little bit louder than Judy, but still just kind of that motioning, swishing sound, that swish, 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 swish. So not too terribly loud on this end. So the white line is going to represent kind of where we're at. Right now, I just want to take that white line about to 200 without it crashing. So I just want it to stay going up and up and up. And then once we get about here, start walking the power down just incrementally. So from here on, we're going to just let the beans start to dry. So for about the next 3 minutes, I'm going to keep the fan low, and I'm going to keep the power kind of consistent. And really, now that we've gotten to 200 on our up climb, we're just going to want to let it nice and easy balance out. Look at that increase on the white line. Yep. So that is the ROR, or how much temperature. Early on, the roast is going to jump up. We want that line to get all the way up to about 200. and then slowly go down to about 5 over the next 11 minutes or so. What does that knob do on the roaster? This one? So this knob lets you see the beans. Right now, the beans are just drying out. This is the what actually handles it. This is a light. So we want to flatten the curve. We want a nice progressive down angle. We don't want anything sharp, because that would be flattening out. We just want to keep it somewhat consistent. In about 35 seconds or so, we should be at yellowing. I'm already starting to see the early phases of yellowing. And we'll kick the fan up just a little bit. Walk the heat down just a scope. This year is the 1-year anniversary when things got real. Yeah, today is the 1-year day of Rudy Gobert breathing on the microphone and Tom Hanks revealing to the world that he's human. Up until this point, I thought he was just a gift. You bring up some very good points, Webb. This will be the day. They will refer to as March 11th as really the day. Okay, so we're charting very nicely. The main thing you want to look at are the blue and purple lines. We want those to stay on a very steady track. The predictor says that we should be getting to around 200 at about 8 minutes, which is exactly what I want. The one kind of bad thing is our ROR just dived a little bit, but there, it's coming back. Okay. Got a little scared there, but that's all right. Tom Who. Take a walk, baby beans. That Tom Who. I feel like we can see the change happening in the beans better on this roaster. Yeah, even though the window is smaller, you definitely get a much clearer view of kind of the different routes that we're taking. Plus, we get this opportunity for me just to kind of show you. All right, and right now, looks like we still should be ending up at first crack right around 8 minutes. So perfect. Window is clear, yeah. A little bit more high-grade glass. So I'm going to actually just... I'm going to refer back to my old recipe real quick. Looks like I walk the fan down right here. There we have first crack. So now all we want to do is just let this go for 20%. A lot of good aromatics here, smelling really good. Duty 2 is so fancy. And folks, you guys, on the big reveal here. Glad you like it. I need to get some commands, I know. B Misfit, I'm really behind on the old Twitch curve. I am a Twitch moron, so I will put some commands in for you before the next show. Okay. Okay, so overall, that was a pretty good roast. Went a little bit faster than I care to admit. What that essentially means is I wanted to get to first crack at 8 minutes. I got there at 7 minutes and 45 seconds. So that's not a big deal. The only adjustment I'm going to make is I'm going to actually preheat it a little bit less with this particular bean in an effort to just slow down just a little bit. So This next roast, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna do another pound of Ethiopian. This is going to be part 2 of the 2-pound roast that I started yesterday. So you don't need to cool these. They were actually cooled in this drum right here, A-Web. So there was a little computer fan. That's why it was so loud. It was cooling right here, and all of the chaff is being pulled out of the coffee via this colander. So you can kind of still see some chaff on the bottom. Take it off a little bit, but overall, much cleaner, much more efficient brand than what we've roasted on in the past. How many pounds can you do in this bad boy? So once I get a little bit more used to it, still, I should be able to do 2 pounds in here a roast easy, and that should take about 12 minutes. So overall, you can do 2 pounds maximum. I'm only doing 1 pound right now, so I've set that as my learning rate, just to remove one variable from the overall mix. But we can do 2 pounds. So I put this anywhere between 6 and 8 pounds an hour. Fans caused a bit of a robo voice effect. Yeah, I did notice that. No cooling and no chaffing. I miss the old days. I know. Well, we're gonna start doing one roast. We'll start doing Judy throwback shows. So every now and then, bring old Jutesy out of retirement, just so you can see all the Neanderthal things again. Hopefully that tickles your mustache there, JMCD. Right? That is exactly my thoughts. Exactly there, A-Web. In my day, we had to shake the chaff out to really show those beans who were boss. Okay, we're actually going to do a new feature. So this is the roast I did last night. Worked out pretty good. Notice the crack time was at 7:55 last night. The walk down was got a little bit flat here, and then it kind of kicked up here. So we might throw some adjustments while we go here, just to kind of bring these numbers down. All that means is I may play with the fan. I may let the fan kick in just a little bit earlier. Maybe here I'll set 4 instead of here, and then that will give us a better idea. But what we can do here on this roast is actually should have the opportunity to play one of these back. So, we have now written this recipe in. I'm not going to touch anything. I'm actually going to just let the roaster and the computer kind of write the roast. I'm still going to monitor it, but this is one new feature I want to try out where I liked the roast that I did last time, so I'm going to repeat the roast by having the computer do it. So, fingers crossed. Door slows. Here we go. Is Brian lagging? I don't think I'm lagging. So B Misfit is in Mexico right now. He's joining us internationally. Yeah, let him know if I'm lagging or not. I should. It doesn't look like I've dropped any frames yet, so I don't think it's me, but who knows. So help B Misfit out. Let him know if you're lagging or not. He also kind of dated himself from when he first met me, in the sense that Brum is a very college name of mine. All right. Go ahead. I only have access to certain genres, but you're up, JMCD. Pick a background song and I'll play it, or a background genre. Yeah, right now. Old country. Now, I do have to warn you, JMCD, I only have a very limited number of options. And unfortunately, old country is not on there. I'm sorry. Not a hot start to the picking a genre. We might have to tweak this segment a little bit. So what I have access to is pretty basic. Here is beats to stream by. We'll get this segment figured out for you, JMCD. Okay, so our numbers are right where we want them to be. Almost a mirror image of our first roast. It's positive. Right now, we should be getting to first crack right about 8 minutes. Right where we want to be. Starting to stall out just a little bit on the ROR. So just to keep it on a more consistent downward trend, I might boost up our fan just a little bit and to help push the roast right to the finish line here. What that is. There's first crack. The rate over rise kind of jumped a little bit. I lowered the power just to trying to keep things moving toward the end. Go ahead and up our fan a little bit too, see if we can't just drive the roast down just a bit. There we go. Back on track. So what am I most looking to do? I don't want to sound like a negative Nancy, but probably most looking forward to just waking up, being able to do whatever I want. Haven't done that in many, many moons. So yes, the nature, the ocean, the sea life, the relaxing, but just waking up and just saying, I can do whatever I want today. I think, at least for a day, that sounds kind of nice. Have I noticed any difference? Yes, this one is. I'm gonna let it finish cooling. Okay, so first, have I noticed any difference? I definitely have. This one is just the control allows me to have. It's just so much more even. In fact, the beans are a little bit more puffy. The overall product is just much more what you would see from a commercial roaster. Obviously, commercial roasters are roasting on a much larger scale, but as far as that goes, this it's just much better. Are you going to bring your own coffee on the trip? I am. Bringing my own coffee, bringing my own grinder. I'm also going to bring the AeroPress. So on the Sunday, when we do the show, we are going to be drinking fat beans on the beach. And also we're going to look for some pie to kind of carry out the whole pie theme of the show on Pie Day. But I will be bringing fat beans, Kansas City roast down to South Waters. But looks pretty good. To be right on target with what we were looking for. Still doing a show while I'm vacating? Well, yeah. I say I'm going to do a pie show back in January. Doing a pie. Taste of beans? Sure. I can already tell. Lined up really well with the last roast. So maybe not laser perfect like I want to get to someday soon, but too perfect enough, can't really tell. So this here, what I was shooting for. This is what I did. This was the first batch I was trying to mirror. That's the actual batch I did. So, I mean, it died right at the end, which is what I wanted. This was a better roast than the first roast I did. So, if anything, this should be perfect. Key lime with coffee, get out of here. I mean, we'll be in the Keys. We gotta have the key lime. I can compare the roast digitally. Yeah, now I have two ways of monitoring my roasts. I have the Twitch show where I can monitor my activity. Now I have a digital that I can kind of pour over. And I can start to analyze things, little anomalies like this, to say, all right, what is happening here? Is that something I can control? As you notice, it might be something with the bean, where the bean is just putting out a lot of heat right at that marker. Because both roasts we did, both had that little spot there. So it just gives me a lot more kind of data points to sift through while we're doing this. And that's really the point and the beauty of this particular roaster. Is it just is going to allow me to make subtle tweaks instead of just saying, ooh, I like that. I don't know what I did to make that. So now I can say, okay, I like this roast. I really like how it came along here. Or maybe it will be a little bit too harsh. And I can say, all right, what are some adjustments I can make that will reduce the harshness of the coffee? So that is Judy. So, all right. Well, at this point, I'm feeling pretty confident in being able to do kind of my way around this new machine. And what that means is I can start to spend a little bit more time getting the roast show up a little bit. So it's gotten a little sloppy as far as the stream goes because, full disclosure, a lot of my attention has been going to the machine. But now that I feel that I can a little bit more comfortable with the roasting machine, I'm getting the sense that I can now kind of start making some tweaks. So luckily I have spring break coming up in a day. And as soon as we get back from our little quick jaunt to Florida, I'm going to make some improvements down here that I think will enhance the overall view, kind of tie in this, just clean it up a little bit and make it a little bit more consistent as far as the sound, the sights. I'm also going to put a light over here, kind of a dark corner here, and the way I have the roaster established, I might want to pull a little bit more light here. So we'll make all those adjustments now that the growing pains portion of the show has alleviated a little bit. But what this is all about, that's what the Twitch show has always been about. Not only coming in here, getting to hang out with you guys, but also kind of pushing me to think about things in a little bit different manner. So I can hopefully get my focus back to some of the Twitch elements. Going. It helps if you don't put the logo upside down. This is going to be your bag, baby beans. Little blooper reel there. Little blooper. Just doing our stamps now. Get this coffee all bagged up and ready to go. When am I going to do, when am I going to do a different bean? It'll be interesting to compare. The next show that I do, Jill, I will be doing Burundi, which is different than an Ethiopian. So I'll start a couple of roasts trying to figure that out. So I'm comfortable with the Ethiopian. There's a couple of tweaks that I want to make as I get more comfortable with the Ethiopians, but I think the Burundi is something I enjoy. So the next thing I'm going to experiment with will be a little bit of a medium roast. We are doing these Ethiopians somewhat medium with that 20%. Light would be somewhere about 13%. I have found that this Ethiopian tends to be better at a little bit more development time. But we're going to get the Burundi that we've been doing and see if we can't tune that one in next.
Sit. Sit. And count. Sit.
Definitely going to need a bigger table. We have up the operation size quite a bit, so I'm going to probably need a little bit more space to work with in order to start doing this a little bit more efficient. But that can all be fixed. That's all in due time stuff. There you go. Just a quick 2 pounds. To give you somewhat of a comparison, on Judy 1, 2 pounds would have taken me in the ballpark between cooling the machine, cleaning the machine, turning it on, turning it off, probably around 2 hours. So within about 35 to 40 minutes, I've been able to quadruple my output, and still I haven't really pushed this machine as far as it's intended to go. So the benefits of Judy 2 are starting to pay off tenfold. And baby beans with the backwards bag. There you go. Or should I say, there you go. So, that is just a little preview of what Judy can do. Clearly, we will, as we continue to go down this journey, we'll get better. We'll get better with Judy. We'll get better with streaming with Judy. A lot of my streaming, a lot of my technique is based off the Judy roaster, but over the long haul, I think we're going to be able to do a lot more creative things with this new roaster than we were kind of limited with the old roaster. So bear with me while I get up to speed. I know it can kind of be frustrating when some of the tech elements are a little bit wonky. The microphone isn't probably tuned as well as I'd like it, as well as you could probably tell my attention is just drawn, kind of being vacuumed in here. But that will alleviate over the next couple of roasts, and hopefully we can add some hijinks to it. What were you seeing? What were you seeing when you won? I don't know what you're asking me there. What will I sing? Sing a happy song. I don't know. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. Like I said, we'll be going on vacation, but tune in for the Sunday show. Oh, this is actually just a shirt. It's just a trash shirt that I got. This is Tottenham Hotspurs. In fact, B Misfit, who was in the chat earlier, he gave this shirt to me many, many years ago. So shout out to B Misfit for the Tottenham Hotspurs shirt. So if you've ever heard of the new show on Apple called Ted Lasso, that is a he happens to coach. He's a football coach who gets hired to be a football coach in UK. He ends up being the head coach of the Tottenham Hotspurs. So that must be one of their soccer lingos. So good looking out. Nice way to catch that Easter egg. Anyway, so we're approaching about an hour, so we'll get out of here. Really excited to go on the vacation, just get away for a little bit. So you guys hold down the fort while I'm gone. Be looking for the Sunday show. We'll try to post something on Instagram when we know what time we're going to do it. It will probably be more towards the middle part of the day rather than late in the day, but we'll see. Never been before, so don't really know what to expect. But We'll do the Sunday show just to fulfill promises that I made about having a pie day show. So be looking for that. One last look at the finished product of our roasting experiment here. There they are. 2 12-ounce bags of Primo Beanskis, Ethiopian, Guji. So should be pretty good. Other than that, good seeing you guys. Good talking with you. We'll be roasting again. Probably do my next roast a week from yesterday. So I will be down here again roasting live on Twitch next Wednesday. And hopefully we'll have some of the more technical difficulties worked out and we can get a lot more streamlined. As always, if you've got any thoughts or ideas, I know the music one was a good idea. I'll see if I can't get that figured out. But if you got any thoughts or ideas, let me know, whether in person or just send me a whisper while we're getting this figured out. The time for the Sunday show, I don't know. Check Instagram. We'll be sure to post an alert there. Next Wednesday, I'll be back down here at 8:30. So 8:30 like always. Sunday, let's shoot for 4 o'clock Central. So that's 5 o'clock Florida time. That's a tentative time, JMCD. So I'm not sure when we'll do the coffee and pie show on Sunday, but let's say 4 o'clock Central time right now. And if that changes or when we have a more locked in time, we will post something on Instagram giving you guys a heads up on that. But other than that, thanks for joining us. I'm really excited about the Judy Roaster, Judy 2. I think the possibilities are endless, and we'll just have to keep plugging away. So as always, stay caffeinated. See you guys on the other side.